It's Alexis Hart McDowell here, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of having an amazing, phenomenal woman on here today during Women's International History Month to discuss the history that she is making in her community. So I would like to welcome Stephanie Pearson Davis, founder of It Could Be Your Kid, on with me today. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. First of all, I'm so excited to have you on. People don't know, but Stephanie is like my original friend. Like before anything, before I knew anything, before I knew my name, all of that, it was Alexis and Stephanie, Alexis and Stephanie. That was it. So
yes,
Stephanie and I have major, wonderful history together, all the way back to the Sandbox. So it is truly an honor and a blessing, honestly, to have you share your story with us today, because for me, it's such an important story as a mother, as a person in the community, as someone who is active in their school, in their kids' school, I should say, to talk about this very, very serious issue. So why don't you go ahead and let us know what is It Could Be Your Kid?
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It Could Be Your Kid is a bullying prevention organization. We are a registered 501c3, and our mission is really to eradicate bullying through meaningful, relevant, engaging programming. So we do workshops for children, for parents, for teachers and educators on how to prevent bullying, and then what do we need to do if we have to be reactive? What do we do once bullying has actually occurred? So that is what we do.
I love that. And I want to come back to that in a moment, because I love the fact that you have a touch point for everybody in the circle, because everybody's infected, not just the child, but the parent, how to help teachers, administrators, because I think a lot of times it's just overlooked that maybe parents know how to respond. Administrators and teachers know what to do in those situations. They're the trained professionals, but we know that all professionals don't have all of the same training or even the same qualified training. So but before I touch back on that, I want you to tell us a little bit about how it came about. What was the context that, kind of stirred in you that made you want to start a nonprofit to stop and eradicate bullying?
Well, unfortunately, my daughter was a victim of bullying. She's a survivor now.
Yes, a survivor.
But yes, absolutely. But that's what happened. It was my own personal experience, which is where so much of my passion comes from, that one of my own babies was affected by bullying. And in August and September of last year, like the first day of school is when it started. But prior to that, in 2017, she had also experienced bullying. And so in 2019, it was the same girls who engaged in bullying from day one. So as I was seeking to navigate this issue, I felt very lonely and isolated, because believe it or not, it's a very polarizing situation in a small community where people know each other. So even though I went out of my way not to disclose who the other child was, people were working really hard to figure that out. And so once they did, and people determined, like, based on if they were friends with the child's mother who had engaged in bullying, one of the primary aggressors, then, it sort of was polarizing for the community.
Right.
And but I also started to hear from people in the community who were saying, my child was also a victim of bullying throughout. Oh my goodness. I could show you a list a mile long, from parents and from children, from young adults who just left the school system saying, I wish that you had been my mom. I wish my mom had known what to do.
Yes.
So it was, for me, I was like, oh my goodness, this problem is pervasive. This is not, a us problem. This is a problem that is very general. And even though there are risk multipliers for bullying, it is just really widespread. So I didn't want another mother to be awake at night the way that I was, another child to be affected in this way. What can I do? oh, well, I need to create a program. I need to do something because I couldn't find the solution I was looking for. So
Right.
I created it.
Right, right. You couldn't find it, so you created it. That is the way it happens. You know, what did they say? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
You needed this, and so you invented and created this program. That I find it very disheartening and disturbing at the same time that a small group of children could be the purveyor of such long and extensive history of bullying and nothing being done about it, or it not being stopped in its tracks. And that leads me right back to what you were saying before about having that programming for parents, for teachers, for administrators, and for the students. So let's talk a little bit about those programmings that you have, because sometimes, you know, the children are doing things innocently enough, but if nobody's correcting them, then it becomes a more pervasive problem, and they think that thing is okay, and it's not.
Yes.
But, you know, but if the parent is not aware or does not have the tools or the techniques to talk to their child about why they should not be doing that or disciplining them in that regard, then that's how it continues to carry on.
Well, first, please let me just quickly take a little bit of a step back and say that when we're talking about children, bullying starts as early as kindergarten. Bullying behavior begins there. So it's important to say that. And I also want to say that there's a lot of shame and guilt with parents who have children who have engaged in bullying behavior. And, you know, if people really have a strong reaction to bullying. So we often vilify those children who are engaging in that behavior. And there are a couple things I want to say very quickly. Is one, that I really want us to start moving away from calling children bullies.
Okay.
And we need to talk about the behavior. It's bullying behavior. Now, I suppose if that behavior is consistent and prolonged enough, that maybe we could slap a label on a child. But I'm hesitant to do that, because what you do when you put labels on people, you make it very hard for them to step outside of that behavior.
Yeah,
we
want these children to grow. They're still children. They've got so much time to learn and grow and change.
Yes.
I see that. Yes.
Yes. So that's the part that I really talk to people about. And also, people are always like, my kid would never be. And I'm saying, wait a minute, right. Because that's part of the shame and the guilt that keeps us from moving forward as parents to really stop the behavior that we're seeing, because we don't want to acknowledge it, because what does it say about me as a parent? What I'm saying is, parents, I need you to go back in your mental Rolodex, and I want you to think about all those things that you, your siblings, and your friends did that were in direct opposition to the values that your parents instilled in you.
Yes.
How many things have I done in my life that my parents would be like, I can't believe my baby, you know? So, or that I would not want my parents to know, in direct opposition. So I want parents really just to know that it is behavior, and it is our job to provide those interventions, as you were saying earlier, to stop the negative behavior and to show them what is appropriate. Okay. Thank you for letting me say that.
That was beautiful. That's what we need as parents to know, because you're right. We do associate so much guilt and shame, but then that keeps you stuck. It keeps you not wanting to learn, to open up, to want to reveal, to say, hey, I need some help on this, you know?
Yes.
And so that has to be talked about.
Yes. So which leads me to the programming. So we do workshops at all levels. And I do want to say that I am a former teacher. I have a master's degree in education. So I also have sort of that, the experience and the education to provide the programming that I'm providing. So it's not just passion. There's also that experience in education that gives me real life strategies to pull from. And it also helps me understand the educator perspective with bullying, right?
Yes,
because a lot of times educators feel beat up on. And as a classroom teacher, oh my gosh, the responsibility that is placed on classroom teachers to do this work. So they're not just teachers. They're not just, telling kids 1 + 1. Well, now we've sent them and we're asking them to beef up that social emotional learning. Well, that's a whole other thing to be teaching. And unfortunately, a lot of parents, we need to do a better job of really beefing up our children in the social emotional learning category so that teachers don't have so much of that to do. So I want to acknowledge that teachers really have a hard road to go when it comes to what they're actually responsible for in the classroom. So what we do is we come in and we will do workshops for small groups of children, for teachers, for institute days, and for administrators, because that's another level. Again, everybody needs to understand what their role is and how they maybe play into a culture of bullying behavior in their building.
Wow.
So one of the ones that we have for students is the bully, the bullied, or the bystander. Which are you?
Wow.
And so that's a powerful program, because are you engaging in bullying behavior? Are you being victimized by bullying behavior? Or are you watching the bullying behavior, the bystander, who, again, studies show that the bystander, the child who's standing watching, is deeply affected by having witnessed, you know, the violence or trauma against another child. And so that is one workshop that we do. And basically what we're going to do is teach them about what bullying is and what it is not.
Yes.
Because that's important, because we start to water down what bullying is. If we say that every action against us is bullying, then it's not. Some stuff is just poor behavior, but it doesn't rise to the level of bullying. We have to be careful with that. So for administrators and teachers, we talk to them about bullying from the standpoint of it not being a rite of passage, because sometimes adults, particularly more old school adults, you know, we get used to trauma and toxicity and we think that it's standard. I went through that. You know, I had that.
Normalize that. You cannot normalize that.
We cannot normalize bullying behavior. So those are some of the services that we offer. We also do consulting. I've done a lot of that, basically walking parents through in a way that I didn't have. So what do you do?
Yes.
So what do
you
to
hold their hand?
Yes. People need to know, what are your rights? What does the law say about bullying? What does the school have to do? Because I had no idea. I'm like, what do they have to do? How do there must be laws about this, but what do they have to do? You know, so a lot of times, again, school districts carry a lot of the same shame, and not necessarily the guilt, but they do carry the shame of not wanting to be portrayed in a bad light. Yep. So sometimes rather than moving forward and saying, ooh, yeah, we have a blind spot here, they start working to cover that up. And that's a disservice to everybody.
Absolutely. That is just an opportunity for everybody to learn, and for children to have a better atmosphere, and for parents to have a better experience, and for teachers to learn and to say, hey, this is what we do in these types of situations. Ignoring the blind spot, covering up is absolutely a disservice to everyone. And it makes you look like, you know, a co-conspirator almost.
Yes, absolutely. Like you are complicit in that.
Yes.
But how does everybody feel when someone has been wronged and we go, you know what? I did that. It wasn't my intention, but that happened. What can I do to make it better?
Yes.
That's so powerful.
The initial road to healing, and that you all can now communicate and collaborate on how to get better together.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And what we do, it could be your kid. You know, I'm a very empathetic person by nature. So there's no reason for anybody to be afraid in how they engage with us, and how we're not a big angry organization. There's a lot of love over here. And as a former educator, what I know is that the parent and the school, we have to work together like this for the best interest of our children, because that's what we really want, is to see these kids fly high and succeed. And we cannot do that if we're always like this. So we really want to work on compatibility and understanding, inclusion, and collaboration is really the spirit in which we operate.
I love that you all are about love, that you emanate love, and that you're coming from a place of love. Tell us about some of your upcoming programs.
Well, we have so many things coming up, and we're always working on new things. And we want to hear from the community too, and what would they like to see happen. But coming up very soon on March 17th, we're having a presenter come in, behavioral health expert, come in and talk about ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences.
Wow.
And yes, how they sort of spill out and how we can change apathy to empathy. So many of us believe that, oh, if it's not happening to me, that it will not affect me. And I'm here to tell you that the research says the absolute opposite of that. And if we think of it from a domestic violence standpoint, when we have children in the home who see a parent being physically or emotionally, verbally abused, we all know that that child is affected by that as they grow. And bullying is also violence. And so if your child is around in the classroom or witnesses this, they are being affected. It affects their self-esteem that they didn't intercede. Oh my goodness, what should I have done? They're paralyzed with fear. And we need to talk about that. Listen, when people experience adverse childhood experiences, the entire community, and there is research on this, that it just sort of spreads and gets a little bit of it on everybody.
Yes.
And we need to work, we need to talk about that and have these conversations. Like you don't have to be so proud, oh, that would never happen to me. I mean, listen, frankly, that's why it's called It Could Be Your Kid, because in what circumstance can you protect your child from everything? We wish we could, but we just can't. So March 17th at the Frankfort Public Library from 6 to 8, this is a free event for adults. It's free. So we are sponsoring this event at 100%, and we are so excited to provide this programming to educators, administrators, parents, community members. Everybody is welcome. We do have a limited number of seats though, because we wanted to make it intimate where people could ask questions and really have a safe space to share their own experiences. On March 31st, we are having an event for children from grades 4 to 8th grade at Bloom Art Studio in Mokena, Illinois. We are going to have so much fun. We're going to be painting a positive, affirming message for ourselves, and they'll get to take that art home with them. To start, we're going to have lunch and talk. We're going to talk about bullying. We're going to talk about self-esteem and how that influences bullying behavior and how we respond to bullying behavior.
Wow, that's
so I'm super excited.
What's your age range for that one?
So the age range for that one is from 4th grade to 8th grade. There is a $20 fee associated with that. From 12 p.m. to 2:30, we're going to provide a yummy lunch. They're going to get a t-shirt for It Could Be Your Kid. I'm so excited. And they're going to be able to paint for 2 hours. So that's
$20. That's an amazing event.
Yes, it is. So we are excited. We also have partnered with an organization called the Be a Friend Project in New York, and we benefited from the relationship. Sydney was one of their recipients of their peer-to-peer support, and basically they send letters of support to survivors of bullying.
Wow.
It is such a powerful organization. So every month since we were recipients, I host a peer support party for whoever the child that was selected by the Be a Friend Project. So Mannix is a child who was selected. He faced bullying to the degree that he wanted to take his life. He did attempt, and thank God that he was not successful in his attempt. And now he's doing better. He's being homeschooled, but we're going to host a peer support party. I don't have the date for it yet. I'm waiting to secure the location, but please visit my website or my Facebook page to find out when that event is going to be. And I throw a party. So we have balloons, decorations, and snacks. There will always be snacks for the children. And usually we have a cake or cupcakes or something, because it is a party. And we want to show children how we support one another in tough times, and why it's so important that we are careful about the behaviors we choose to engage in, because you don't know what the impact it might have on another person. And we just, day to day, children to adults, you have no idea what somebody is facing, what they've gone through, how many people were mean to them before they encountered you. And so for us, it's so much easier just to be kind, to be empathetic, to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And that's really what we want to encourage.
Well, I can say that you throw an amazing party. So when you all, if she's ever throwing a party, I guarantee you your kids are going to have the most fabulous time. They go all out. They leave no stone unturned. Every baby is taken care of above and beyond. Support these events, support this programming for anti-bullying behavior, and to encourage parents, adults, educators, and administrators, to attend these things. Tell me, how was starting the non-for-profit process? Because you started the non-for-profit. How was that process?
Listen, because you were my attorney, it was the most painless thing I think I have ever done. And it's just, listen, I will always be in your debt. I mean, I was thinking these things through in my head, but I can be a bit of an overthinker. And so you called me and you said, okay, well, now what are we going to do? Well, yeah, I want to have a 501c3. I think that's what I want to do. And you were like, okay, good. Send me this, and this, and I'll get back to you.
Yep.
And literally, that is just how simple it was. You told me what you needed from me. I sent you those things. And I believe within like 24 hours, it was probably less than that, I had like, okay, this is the application. This is what we've done. We're going to hear back in this amount of time. You were very, your communication was insane. And I remember like opening my email, like, oh my gosh, like already? I could not believe it. And then I think it was less than 3 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks.
2 weeks
that we were a registered 501c3. So your work ethic is amazing. Your communication, your accountability, it was so much appreciated, because for somebody like me, I guess people don't think about it like this, but when you have an attorney, part of it is just you guys helping move us along when we start to be stagnant in a process. And that's absolutely what you did, which was a function I didn't anticipate. It was just like, okay, like, what are we doing now?
What's next? Let's do it.
Let's go. And so having a 501c3, registered 501c3, the legitimacy that it gave me, the credibility that it gave me to say, oh no, this is not just something that I'm doing for fun. This is not a hobby. This is me trying to make actionable change, like I'm doing. And that is what you gave me by making the process so dang easy, And when I talk to other people about their process, they can't believe, how streamlined it was for me.
Well, that's good to hear. That's you hit on two of the main things that I preach incessantly about, which is communication, because clients, they just don't get enough communication from attorneys out here. They may hear from them once, and then 3 weeks later it's something else. Oh, I need this piece of paper, or you forgot to send me that. No, I know the community impact that my clients want to have. And in order to do that, they need to get what they need to get. They need to get the paperwork with the state. They need to get this paperwork with the feds. And we can get that done quickly and efficiently for you all, so that we're not a barrier. We're not a barrier. Yes. We're a building block to you all having the type of community impact that you want to have. So it just warms my heart that, we played, such a small initial role in this, and then to see how you've just blown up and made this organization what it is, and beyond your passion, it's your purpose. And I just love to see what you're doing and the impact that you're having on children and adults alike. So I cannot speak highly enough of you and your organization. So tell the people, since you are a 501c3, they can donate to you and help your programs and your services for anti-bullying behavior. And tell us how to contact you, how to donate, what's your web address, social media, all of that.
Okay, well, you can find us on the World Wide Web at www.itcouldbeyourkid.org. And when you visit this amazing website, you will see a donate button at the top right corner. And if you click that, it'll take you directly to a place where you can donate. You can also go directly through Chase, who is our bank, and you can go through our email address. We can help at itcouldbeyourkid.org.
Yep.
And if you want to just zell us on over, feel free to do so. So that's another way that you can contact us. If you have questions, concerns, if you want to know if your child is indeed being bullied, if you're an administrator and you're like, we need some good, solid programming, especially from a former educator who understands sort of all sides of this, then reach out to me at wecanhelp@itcouldbeyourkid.org. Again, on our website, you're going to find out more about the organization in general. You're also going to see specific programming available to educators and administrators, and that you could select, and then we will be there, and we are available to come to your school at any time. PTOs, PTAs, parent organizations at schools, we are willing to come to your building.
Wow.
And yes, for your parent meetings, if they're in the day or if they're at night, and give you guys all the information and the resources. And quickly, I am working on another program right now where I'm going to have a law school come and tell parents what their rights are.
Awesome.
Yes, so I'm going to have some attorneys come and provide this programming, because too often parents just don't know. And so if you want to be able to hold people accountable, and if you want to be held accountable as a parent by knowing what your rights are and what your child's rights are, then you do not want to miss that. So I'm planning for late spring, early summer, April and May for that one, but stay tuned.
That's going to be amazing. Please make sure I know about that, so that I continue to promote that, because that is definitely a huge starting point. That is a gap. Absolutely. Black hole in that area, and parents have no clue what to do. So I do hope people, donate and continue to look at your services and take advantage of the services that you're offering as well. Thank you, Stephanie. I so appreciate you. I love you. Congratulations to you and your organization. And I wish you all nothing but the best, and happy Women's History Month.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for all the history that you're making.